Every grace has principles, covenants. You notice when you're married, you know your wife. You know what takes her off. You know those things that can buy you some grace. Hallelujah. You know when to expect dinner and when to say, you know what, let's just get something out. Those are her covenants. So also it is with God.
Yes, Lord.
I know my covenants that drive Resurrection House for All Nations. And I operate by those covenants. And things happen the way they're supposed to. And so when you hear my testimonies, you know it's not because of some special thing. It's because by understanding and by revelation, I know what governs my ministry. And I just follow them. Where do you learn your covenants? In the wilderness. Okay, I have to pull it back because I don't want to get so far deep, you know. Watch this. Because everything God has promised you. How many of you are carrying promises tonight? That promise is your end. Where you are is where you start. But between you, where you are, and what God has promised is a wilderness. I don't care what God has promised you. It has those sequences. You have the promise, the problem, and the promised land. You have to understand that. Why does God take us through the wilderness? That's where the world is taken out of you. That's where the glory is revealed. That's where you learn your covenants. If you look at the children of Israel, everything that constituted Judaism was learned in the wilderness. Where did they get the ark? I can't hear you. Where did they get the tabernacle? Where did the glory cloud show up? Where was the fire by night? Where was the manna? Where was Aaron's rod that budded? Everything came in the wilderness. But most people are rushing to come out of the wilderness. You've gone through hell and high water, but what do you have to show for it? You should come out of the wilderness with the knowledge of God. Hallelujah. With the knowledge of the glory. With authority and power in your God. I'm not helping anybody. I just want to drop a few nuggets and I have my seed. Glory to God.
Hallelujah.
Because these are the things I have learned and I practiced them. And I practiced them. Here's something I know God taught me that is universal. You can bet your life on it that every time your breakthrough is about to happen, somebody will do something to offend you. Something will happen. And then they watch how you react. And when you blow up and tell them who you are and all of that, they will take your breakthrough and put it on the shelf. You haven't learned anything yet. Because the very first lesson of the wilderness is to humble you. I asked my church, why are people broke everywhere? The church, God said wealth and riches should be in our house. Why are we broke? Pride. Because the legal tender in the realm of the spirit is humility. But we don't have it. Any little thing, poof, we blow up. And they put your stuff there. If you look at all the miracles in this Bible that Jesus worked in so many people's life, every time the guy is at the point of his breakthrough, somebody was, be quiet. You're making too much noise. You're disturbing the meeting. And you know what most of us would have done? We would have forgotten Jesus and start answering them. I wish I could speak Yoruba so I can release some things. That's what happened. Blind Bartimaeus, he's crying out. They said, be quiet. And the Bible says he cried louder. I pray after tonight, beloved, that it don't matter who says what to you, it don't matter who does what to you. Hey, you need to ignore them and say, hey, I'm not calling after you. I'm not talking to you. I'm speaking to the God of my destiny and creation. Take any story, you see the same thing. The Syrophoenician woman. Even the Lord won't talk to her. Until they call her a dog. Most believers of today will not make it in Jesus' ministry team. I mean, the kind of names the Lord was calling the disciples. If the pastor calls you the name, you would have gathered your friends. Say, let's go. Think about it. He called them perverted. He called Peter devil. Yes. But any little thing, we flare up and miss a breakthrough. Because that's what happened to me 13 years ago. I was moving from the ministry I served in for 20 years into the calling of God. And all of a sudden, Satan got involved in it. There was nothing that didn't happen. My brother died in the middle of it. By the time I came back from burying him, they had even changed all the locks. I couldn't even get in the church. My stuff was packed up. I mean, all kinds of things happened. I didn't even live with a microphone. Now watch this. And I was at home praying and crying. And God said, now stop crying. He said, now, do you want to be right? Or do you want to be blessed? Because these are no words. It just came in my spirit. He said, if you want to be right, go around. Tell everybody what they did to you. Badmouth them. Get people to side with you. But at the end of the day, he said, that's all you will have. He said, now, but if you want to be blessed, he said, then keep your mouth shut. He said, humble yourself. Now listen to this. And take the wrong. You see, the things I'm preaching about, you don't hear anybody talking about it. These things are original because that's what's working all the miracles of my ministry. How can I run a church for 13 years? I haven't had one fundraiser. And I'm totally debt free. I am debt free as a church. I am debt free personally. I owe no one. I don't have a mortgage. Because humility is the legal tender. Most believers don't know that. The same way you use money to exchange things, in the realm of the spirit, that's why Jesus did not defeat Satan with power. He said he used death to destroy him. But if you read Philippians 2, it tells you all the graduations of humility until he hit the spot. And I made a decision, okay, I want the blessing. So I zipped my lip. And Satan came from everywhere. People were feeding me information. They were bringing me CDs, preached with my name on it. Satan will make sure that you don't make it. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So by the time I finished, you repent quickly. I'll be done. I'm sorry, that I know you got to preach. What's this? I'm done. And I kept it. And I will not respond. No matter who brought what, no matter who said what. They preached about me. They printed 10-page document. They talked to every pastor and leader we've ever known for 20 years, not to help me. And I couldn't. God said, now I will bless you. And that's how all the miracles started. And they're still working today. Running the largest Christian rally ever known in this city. It's costing me $100,000 and I haven't raised a dime from anybody. I paid $55,000 today to buy speakers alone. Do you understand? What I'm telling you is a supernatural life your name is Jubilee. That's the way to manifest it.